Alicia Gray is having a word with someone in the crowd, and now security is also involved.
It looks like that fan is being...
What exactly did Alicia Gray think she heard from the crowd that night? And why did it explode into such a mess? That's the part people still can't quite figure out. Because almost immediately after she made her gesture toward the Indiana section, the story went in several different directions. On live TV, you saw her turn, point, and signal to security. A few fans stood up, confused, and staff escorted them out while the broadcast quickly cut away from the camera. In that moment, it seemed like something big had happened. An accusation this bold in the middle of a playoff game set a tone that Atlanta wanted everyone to pick up on. Their star had been disrespected, their team had been wronged, and the focus needed to shift away from the scoreboard and onto the stands.
The stadium buzzed, a powder keg waiting to blow. On the court, Alicia Gray of the Atlanta Dream locked eyes with someone in the stands, pointing a finger, a clear accusation hanging in the air. Security rushed in, fans were removed, and the story exploded across social media. Yet, what truly happened that night in Indianapolis wasn't the simple narrative Gray tried to spin. Instead, it was a messy tangle of accusations that quickly unraveled, painting a picture far different from what the Dream wanted the world to believe. While
eyewitness accounts started trickling out, and that's when the foundation of Gray's version began to crack. One person who sat near the incident swore the fan had only shouted, "It was standard sports talk." Yet somehow that benign comment managed to escalate to player frustration, a signal to security, and the distraction of removing paying fans from their seats. If that doesn't sound like a stretch, then what does? And this is where the entire narrative lost steam. Those fans who were removed? They didn't stay gone. Reports confirmed they were back in their seats later in the game, which says everything about how minor the offense truly was. If something serious had been said, security doesn't ask you to take a quick timeout before letting you waltz right back. Clips of the ejection circled. The phrases Gray had apparently claimed quickly picked apart, and post-game chatter revealed how little sense it made.
Atlanta was caught in a scandalous drama. The Indiana Fever were busy making history, snapping a years-long playoff drought with a roaring home crowd. The contrast was stark, one side seemingly crafting a lie, the other side etching their name into the record books. It wasn't just embarrassing for the Dream. It was the perfect powder keg for a Game 3 showdown you absolutely won't want to miss.
It's clear to us the WNBA does not appreciate fans, don't want us there. We have been thrown out of games for a multitude of ridiculous things. We have watched these players complain and trash us all. They called half of us racist. They've got all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Now, without Caitlin Clark, the viewership has been cut in half by 50%. 50% for the playoffs. For the playoffs, y'all. And they still are getting fans thrown out of games.
She got a fan kicked out last night against the Indiana Fever, only for the fan to speak their piece to the security. Security found out, oh, you didn't say anything at all, actually. Yeah, come back to your seat. Let me just wipe that seat off for you. Here, please, have a seat, ma'am. Alicia Gray played like absolute you-know-what last night and decided to take it out on a fan.
In that charged moment on live television, Gray turned, pointed directly at the Indiana Fever fan section, and signaled to security. A few confused fans were quickly escorted out, the broadcast swiftly cutting away, leaving everyone wondering what colossal offense had just occurred.
This is nuts. By the way, security brought this couple back in and apologized to them. All right? They removed the couple because they do it to let the players calm down, because it's clear these players aren't professionals. Here's what you owe us. You owe us at this point. Stop it. Stop it. So, she's now fully been exposed, and let's get this account of the situation. The guy in the black hat yelled to Lexi, who was running to guard Gray, and said, quote, "You're good, Lex." She's not even trying anymore. Gray lost her shit and said some very nasty words to the guy and the people next to him. Because he said she's not even trying anymore. She can't handle that kind of heckling. Are you kidding me? Quit sports today.
Atlanta wanted to set a tone. Their star had been disrespected, their team wronged, and the focus needed to shift away from their lagging performance and onto the stands. However, the very next day, different outlets began describing the incident in wildly conflicting ways. Some chalked it up to nothing more than routine heckling, the kind of banter every athlete endures during a tense game. Others hinted at something far more personal and serious, yet mysteriously offered no clear details.
The guy did not say anything out of line whatsoever. They were let back in shortly after. When asked what happened, he said that they said it was protocol to remove the fan to allow the player to calm down. I mean, all these players ought to be playing in bozo outfits. Gray had a bad night, and there is no excuse for the things she said or the way she acted.
Alicia Gray getting this fan kicked out, and of course, the internet went ablaze. Oh my God, those Indiana Fever fans! Bah, 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 bah. Of course, after the fake hoax of early this year with Angel Reese, Angel Smollett, some people call him her. The fake race hoax, people were saying, "Oh my gosh, those Indiana Fever fans! What could they have possibly said?" And the rumor mill starts going, and the rumor mill starts going, and the rumor mill starts going.
The inconsistency was jarring. If fans were removed from a high-stakes playoff environment, shouldn't the specifics be crystal clear? Instead, we were left with a patchwork of vague descriptions, none of which aligned with what those actually present in the arena were reporting. But that wasn't the whole story.
WNBA players, you guys are not ready for the big lights. You're not ready for the big lights. You're not ready. I could look you in your eyes and see you're not ready. Y'all can't handle people showing up to games. Y'all can't handle people actually being an interested, invested fan.
If there's anything I know, there's nothing like playoff basketball in Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
We come to you from Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, the first home playoff game for the Fever since 2016. Need to win this to force a decisive Game 3.
Just hours later, eyewitness accounts began trickling out, and that's when the foundation of Gray's version began to crack under the pressure. One fan seated near the commotion swore the removed individual had only shouted, "You're good, Lex. She's not even trying anymore." This comment was clearly directed as encouragement to Lexi Hall, an Indiana player, not as a nasty jab at Gray. It wasn't vulgar, it wasn't threatening, it was standard, passionate sports talk. Yet, this innocuous remark somehow escalated into a player's frustration, a dramatic signal to security, and the bewildering removal of paying fans from their seats. If that doesn't...
And they have allowed her in their half-court sets so far to just take open drive to the rim. There's the three.
I think and fans didn't appreciate how good Kelsey Mitchell is, and they're certainly getting an eyeful this year. Here she goes. She's guarded by Petty, takes it right to the basket and misses. It's ahead for Mitchell. Stephanie White wants to see her go downhill, be more aggressive offensively. This is a great matchup. Boston against Jones.
Just a fun matchup between two big posts with size, with good anything.
Boston up, under, and in.
Doesn't sound like an outrageous stretch, then what does? The ultimate blow to Gray's narrative came when reports confirmed the removed fans were back in their seats later that same game. If anything truly serious had been said, security doesn't offer a quick timeout before letting you waltz right back in. By the end of the night, the optics were undeniable. It looked less like an issue of egregious fan behavior and more like a player unable to handle routine heckling in the midst of a blowout loss. And what happened next would shock everyone.
Fever, go! Bow, bow, bow! Let's go! Fever! Go, Fever!
Let's go, Fever! Fever in 3!
Let's go!
season! This is our season! Return up time! Indiana Fever! That time! We on the map! Let's go!
Social media instantly erupted. Clips of the ejection circulated endlessly. The supposed phrases Gray had claimed were picked apart with surgical precision, and post-game chatter revealed just how little sense her narrative made. Fans immediately pointed out glaring inconsistencies. Commentators openly called the entire episode confusing. By Monday morning, the entire thing was broadly labeled for what it appeared to be: a thinly veiled attempt to shift blame away from the Dream's abysmal performance. The internet, ablaze with commentary, drew chilling parallels to other past fake hoax accusations involving WNBA players.
Great job! That was a masterclass on the defensive end of the game. Hell yeah, ladies. Hell yeah. It really was. It really was. I mean, I'm so proud of you. Stepped up to the challenge, back against the wall, and our back is against the wall every fucking game. But y'all, look, I'm proud of you. We ain't finished though, right? We ain't finished. KK, way to be ready. Yeah! The second half, your aggressiveness, it was a difference maker. What it opens up with the gravity that you create is huge for us. You gotta stay aggressive. Hell
yeah! People cynically wondered, oh my gosh, those Indiana Fever fans. What could they possibly have said? As the rumor mill spun wildly, the entire episode worked drastically against Atlanta. The supposed lie, as fans began branding it, didn't stick. Public interest gravitated not towards Gray's attempt to redirect attention, but towards the undeniable resilience of the Fever. Instead of garnering sympathy, it made the Dream look utterly rattled, while Indiana simply appeared tougher in every conceivable way. And that's the perfect pivot, because while Gray was pointing fingers at fans, the Fever were pointing straight to the scoreboard, and it was historic.
Limit Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray the way they did together. Those two were stuck at just 19 combined points, a far cry from their output in Game 1. Without those buckets, Atlanta struggled to keep pace, and Indiana never let them back in.
Meanwhile, a mere stone's throw away from the unfolding controversy, the Indiana Fever were achieving the seemingly impossible. With 5 key players in street clothes, how did they manage to look sharper, hungrier, and more connected than the Dream? That was the part that truly shocked the league. Caitlin Clark, the national sensation who had single-handedly rewritten ticket sales, had just been ruled out for the season. Sophie Cunningham was unavailable. Sydney Colson and Chloe Bibby were sidelined. Even Christy McDonald couldn't go. That was a massive chunk of their rotation, completely wiped out. For most teams in such a dire position, especially facing a must-win game, the mood would have been utterly deflated, a prelude to an inevitable end. But for Indiana, it was the exact opposite. They embraced the challenge, transforming a potentially season-ending blow into one of the most uplifting nights in franchise history. Their victory wasn't about who was missing, it was about who was willing to step up. But there was another secret weapon at play.
Play with, and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times.
There's a certain desperation that has to come with how you play every possession. I didn't feel like in Game 1 we played with that desperate mentality that we needed, particularly when you look at 50-50 balls, when you look at how many times, we didn't get inside the three-point line for a defensive rebound and the ball hit the floor and they were able to get it. There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times. We didn't have that consistently for 40 minutes in Game 1. I expect us to have it here tonight.
Boston backing down Jones, post moves, banks it in, bow, bow, bow. Underway, it's 2-0 Fever through the first 20 seconds.
Bree Jones, so crafty around the bucket, good footwork, little fadeaway there.
First bucket for Kelsey Mitchell, who's having a spectacular season.
Powers muscling it up, good, and one. There's the energy off the bench from Ariel Powers as she flexes.
The atmosphere inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse matched the unprecedented stakes. Red Now You Know shirts filled the lower sections, and the noise inside the arena gave off the unmistakable feel of a city absolutely ravenous to make up for years of missing out on playoff basketball. The crowd didn't just clap at big plays. They roared through defensive stands, responded viscerally to every hustle moment, and collectively carried themselves like a sixth player on the court. For a team desperately short on depth, that raw extra energy became the tangible difference. Even in the pre-game shoot-around, Coach White hammered home a crucial message. There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times. She had publicly criticized their Game 1 effort for lacking intensity, and the players clearly heard her. They came out with a different body language, quicker rotations on defense, stronger box outs, and a selfless willingness to share the ball. They didn't wait for one player to carry them. They collectively decided it would take every single one. And even from the bench, a smiling, cheering Caitlin Clark, standing on every defensive stop, fed the team with visible support. Rather than sulking over what they'd lost, they carried her energy onto the floor. But the game wasn't won on emotion alone.
Atlanta is very reactive on defense right now. They are not dictating the way that we saw them in Game 1, and credit the Fever for their level of aggressiveness.
Mitchell whips a pass, left block, Turner, extra, Tosh puts it in! Mitchell from the logo, pulls, top of the arc three, got it! Inside, Boston, going to work, scores off the backboard. 8 seconds left in the third. Fever by a dozen. Now a steal in the backcourt. Mitchell in the corner, guarded by Gray. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull, left wing, fires a three. Good! Hull hits with 0.3 to go in the third. Woo! Atlanta inbounds. That's it for the period. And the Fever are fired up. 59-44 with 10 minutes to play.
The precise moment the Fever slammed the door on Atlanta arrived late in the third quarter. If you blinked, you might have missed what initially seemed like a normal run of play. It began with Aaliyah Boston going to work inside, muscling her way to a post score that was a powerful reminder of her elite footwork and strength. Before Atlanta could even reset, Erica Wheeler jumped a passing lane, ripping away a steal that instantly flipped the energy in the building. Just seconds later, with the clock rapidly ticking down, Lexi Hull launched a deep three at the buzzer. The shot dropped, the crowd exploded, and in that instant, the game's tone shifted completely. What had been a tense back and forth suddenly tilted irrevocably in one direction, and Atlanta never recovered. Up until that point, the Dream were hanging around, the margin hovering in single digits, making Indiana still look vulnerable despite their monumental effort. That three-point barrage crushed Atlanta's hope, giving the Fever all the momentum and igniting the home crowd with an adrenaline surge that bled directly into the fourth quarter. It was one of those game-changing stretches you circle, not just for the points, but for the raw energy it unleashed. From there, Indiana never let up. Kelsey Mitchell poured in 19 points, knocking down 4 critical threes that ruthlessly punished every defensive gamble Atlanta attempted. When the Dream sagged to stop the paint, Mitchell made them pay from outside. When they pressed up, her quick first step burned them off the dribble. Beside her, Aaliyah Boston's steady 15 points and 5 rebounds provided crucial balance on both ends. She wasn't flashy, but she was consistently reliable, delivering a bucket every time Indiana desperately needed to maintain control. Natasha Howard, though not grabbing headlines, delivered a massive two-way impact with 12 points and countless altered shots on defense. She was the team's unsung glue. Then there was Lexi Hull, who did more than just hit that buzzer beater. She brought relentless energy and lockdown defense on Gray, diving for loose balls and spacing the floor in ways that forced Atlanta to constantly adjust. And don't overlook rookie Michaela Timpson, who chipped in 9 crucial points in limited minutes, displaying a composure far beyond her years. Exactly the kind of unexpected lift you rarely get from a first-year player in a playoff atmosphere. But the biggest revelation was yet to come.
Way to go for Natasha Howard. Gray goes down. Good patience by Howard. Mitchell bounce pass, Natasha Howard, and it rolls in.
Howard has had great activity tonight. Hull's got a size advantage on Jordan Canada, so she can use her length, even though Jordan Canada has the advantage in quickness.
Terrific cut by Hull and a good find.
Good shot there by Pow. You never think it's the youngest player on the team that gets you settled in on offense.
But they're not getting the stops you asked about.
And don't overlook.
And this one was worth the wait. Final score, Fever 77, Dream 60. And we will talk to you on Thursday night in Atlanta.
The defense, above all else, is what sealed it. Atlanta, a team accustomed to much higher scoring outputs, was suffocated, managing a measly 60 total points. They shot under 38% from the field and finished a miserable 5 for 19 from behind the arc. Indiana turned the screws, possession by possession, relentlessly contesting shots, finishing defensive plays with strong box outs, and limiting the Dream to only 10 total free throws. Every role player bought into the plan. Aerial Powers used her size to slow Atlanta's wings, and Brianna Turner fought relentlessly in the trenches to close off interior looks. It was the
Steph holding them to 60 points today. What did you see that was so effective from you guys defensively to really turn this game?
I mean, our aggressiveness, our attention to detail, our ability to contest without fouling, to be disciplined, in that area, I thought was huge. We played good enough defense down there, and our offense just couldn't get going, and we were able to get it going on both sides tonight. I continue to just be so proud of this group and their resilience, their toughness, and their ability to respond.
Absolute definition of a team effort. No one relaxing, no one looking for shortcuts, just pure, unadulterated hustle. Boston summed it up afterward, pointing to those hustle moments as the undeniable difference, while Mitchell highlighted the electricity from the crowd after that third quarter run. Their words perfectly matched what everyone witnessed on the floor. A unified group responding to adversity with sheer toughness. By the time the final horn sounded, the scoreboard told the entire, undeniable truth. Fever 77, Dream 60. It was a resounding statement that Indiana wasn't just surviving injuries. They were thriving. Now, the daunting question becomes whether this same balance and intensity can translate to Atlanta for the deciding Game 3, where the season's entire fate rests in 40 minutes. The Fever just showed the entire league they can win without Caitlin Clark. But can they replicate that triumph when the environment flips, when the pressure is at its absolute peak?
Kelsey, going into a do-or-die Game 3, what excites you about that opportunity as a competitor?
I think it would be a really good challenge for us. I think, obviously we want to win a game and they want to win a game, so I think somebody has to lose and somebody has to win, obviously. But I think that we take tonight for what it is and start mentally preparing once it hit 12 o'clock and being able to go into what's important for Thursday. And so, like I said, it's a big opportunity tonight, but you gotta let it be the moment and let it kind of fuel you for Thursday, but you gotta move on.
Steph, for Game 3, how much does a win like this give you guys confidence that you can close out the series in a tough situation on the road?
Yeah, I think that this is a group that's confidence has really never wavered. We've been in every kind of situation you can imagine, and we've been able to find ways to put ourselves in position to win, and this will be no different. Obviously, it's going to be on the opponent's home floor, but it doesn't matter. I think for us, our if we maintain our attention to detail, if we continue the defensive effort that we had tonight, and we shoot with confidence, we give ourselves a chance, and this group is continued to show their heart, their character, night in and night out.
Alicia Gray's fleeting moment of controversy with the crowd won't be remembered for long, if at all. What will stick in the collective memory, what will truly endure, is Indiana turning a season plagued by setbacks into their first playoff win in nearly a decade. That's the story fans will carry forward, a testament to grit and unforeseen triumph. The Fever already proved they can fight through devastating injuries and still look like a serious playoff contender. Imagine what this very same group looks like in 2026. With a healthy Caitlin Clark back in the lineup, surrounded by the formidable talents of Boston, Mitchell, Hull, and a deeper, more experienced bench. Game 3 isn't just a decider. It's a chance at round 2, an opportunity to make history once again, and to remind everyone, unequivocally, that the scoreboard never lies.